another episode of Fafa Berry Reading. Today I'm going to read The Curious Garden, written and illustrated by Peter Brown. Excuse me. There once was a city without gardens or trees or greenery of any kind. And most people spent their time indoors. As you can imagine, it was a very dreary place. However, there was one boy who loved being outside. Excuse me. Even on drizzly days while everyone else stayed inside, you can always find Liam happily splashing through his neighborhood. It was on one such morning that Liam made several surprising discoveries. He was wandering around the old railway, and as he did, and from time to time, when he stumbled upon a dark star well leading up to the tracks. The railway had stopped working ages ago, and since Liam had always wanted to explore the tracks, there was only one thing for the curious boy to do. Liam ran up the stairs, pushed open the door, and stepped out onto the railway. The first thing he saw was a lonely patch of color. Wild flowers and plants were the last things he had expected to find up there. But when he took a closer look, it became clear that the plants were dying. They needed a gardener. Liam may have not been a gardener, but he knew that he could help. So he returned to the railway the very next day and got to work. The flowers nearly drowned. On and had a few pruning problems, but the plants patiently waited while Liam found better ways of gardening. As the weeks rolled by, Liam began to feel like a real gardener, and the plants began to feel like a real garden. Most gardens stay in one place, but this was no ordinary garden. Wow, miles of open railway ahead of it. The garden, it was growing restless. It wanted to explore. The tough little weeds and mosses were the first to move. They popped up farther and farther. They're down the tracks and were closely followed by the most delicate plants. Over the next few months, Liam and the curious explored every corner of the railway. After spending his spring and summer and autumn with his garden, Liam's time on the railway was finally interrupted by winter. Heavy blankets of snow fell on the city that season, and for the first time since he'd been a gardener, Liam could not visit the plants. Rather than waste his winter worrying about the garden, Leah spent it preparing for spring. After 3 cold months, was when the snow finally began to melt, and Lamb rolled his new gardening gear over to the railway. Winter had taken a toll on the garden, but thanks to Lamb's planning, his handy new tools, and a little help from the sun, and the plants soon awoke from their winter sleep. The garden had always wanted to explore the rest of the city, and that spring was finally ready to make its move. Once again, the tough little weeds, mosses set out first. They popped out farther and farther from the railway and were closely followed by more delightful plants. The garden was especially curious about old forgotten things. A few plants had popped up where they didn't belong. Others mysteriously popped up all at once. But most of the surprising things that popped up were the new gardeners. Many years later, the entire city had blossomed, but all of the new gardeners, Liam's favorite was where it all began. Thanks for watching.